Today, I am delighted to have with me the rugby leadership from Western Washington University in Bellingham, Washington. Western Washington is a perennial contender nationally. And at this point, I would like to introduce you to Paul Horne, Director of Rugby and former Canadian national coach, as well as British Columbian Rugby Hall of Fame member and 1978 Western Washington alum, as well as head coach Adam Roberts, who coached the Canadian Under-20s National Youth Program to 3 World Trophy championships. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
It's
Good
great to have
day.
you with me. I'd like to jump right in. I've given the most basic introduction, but could you please tell us both a little bit about your backgrounds and your current roles at Western Washington? Mr. Horn, let's start with you.
Okay, well, I'm a graduate, as you already mentioned, and I've stepped aside as the head coach with our hiring of Adam Roberts this January. So I'm the director of rugby. I kind of oversee the program and work closely with the alumni, who's our main financial supporter of our program, and the other 4 coaches that we have on our staff. So I'm enjoying my role. At my age, I've certainly done my time out on the field and doing the coaching, and now it's really rewarding for me to be mentoring some of our younger coaches and watching Coach Roberts do the work.
Thank you very much. And Coach Roberts, could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Well, I was a Canadian. Well, I am a Canadian, and I grew up playing hockey, baseball, and then Mr. Horn was my PE teacher in grade 8 up in Canada, and then boom, he's like, I think this sport would be great for you. And when I was grade 12, I was going to move on and try and follow a bit more of the hockey path. And Mr. Horn set me up to go move to Cardiff in the UK. And I did kind of a gap year over in Cardiff and played for the Cardiff Youth in Cwmcarn High School. And then it kind of just ball rolling from there. I loved the culture. I absolutely loved, everything about the game and being in Millennium Stadium as a ball boy. And I just absolutely loved what was going on. And so continued on in Canada and got my degree, became a high school teacher and kept coaching. I started coaching quite young and just love working with kids and with people. And then it's just flourished into this. I mean, I still coach up in Canada, but I resigned from the national program so that I could take this role at Western Washington that Mr. Horn and the alumni had set up.
Amazing. So while you have the mic, so to speak, could you tell us a little bit about the rugby program, how long it has existed, and what division you play in?
Yeah, so it started in 1957, and so it's got a long history at the school. Personally, I was there, like I told you, from about 2010 to 2018, and then had a couple border issues, but have been hired on full time with like a U.S. visa and a working permit. The program itself is in the D1 AA, but because of our proximity, like we go up to play in Canada against University of Victoria, UBC in Vancouver, Trinity Western, because we're very close to Canada. We're right basically situated on the Canadian border, but our conference is a D1 AA conference, and there's been talk of us moving up to the D1A level, but with our proximity, it comes with a lot of travel if you go to the D1A level, and so we're just trying to work through in terms of how that looks and operational costs for the future. So we're happy in D1A. We have our D1 AA. We have a lot of success, and we've won our conference. Almost perennially, really, and we've had a good run in the sevens division as well. We won the national title last year, lost in the semifinal in overtime this year. So we have a lot of a lot of success, and so we're just kind of waiting to see what the future holds and just keep working hard and having fun with it.
Now, I have a couple more questions for you, and then I'll turn back to Mr. Horn. I know that you have a couple of international players at Western Washington. Can you tell me about their role and what they bring to the team?
Well, certainly the international kids have been raised in the game. And so it's more in their forefront and their kind of rugby pedigree as they understand the game on a deeper level. And I think that the American athlete is phenomenal, and some of the intangibles that they bring to the table, it kind of balances really well, bringing in kids internationally that have the experience, that understand the game on a deeper level, and then mix that with the American athlete. It's a pretty great combo, and so yeah, I think that's kind of how we look at it with getting in some international students is it allows them to kind of almost be like a mentor and helping the game and fostering like that kind of deeper knowledge of the game and instilling some of those finer details.
Right. And what does your rugby week and season look like? When do you play? When do you train? When do you lift?
Well, so I mean, there's a rugby analyst here, Goff Rugby, and he said last year I think we were rated in the top five in terms of games played, and we actually and top five in terms of winning percentage over the last 10 years. So we play a lot of rugby. We start at the end of September and go till May. So it's a full season because we don't have the weather that some of the other places in America do. So we're a pretty mild temperate climate. And so that helps us in terms of being able to play all year. And then a given week, it'd be like Monday, we have a film session for about an hour, and then we go on field for an hour. And there's a team lift on Mondays. And then on Tuesdays, we're on field for 2 hours. Wednesday morning, twice a month, we go at 6 a.m. For more of a skills conditioning session. And then there's a team lift Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evenings off. And then Tuesday night, we're back on field from 6 till 8. And then Fridays is either a travel day or a team lift, and then we play on Saturday. So Fridays is a little bit changing just based off of that. And then on Sundays, we have a team plunge into the Pacific Ocean.
That sounds like a great tradition. Do you
You
play
bet.
with 15s and sevens?
We do, yeah. So they're kind of working on that with the CRAA right now. Is we're just kind of the seven schedule is very difficult timing wise. So we do play sevens at the end of our season, and we're trying to work in find a way to do a little bit more sevens. But no, we traditionally do most of the time we do 15s, but at the end of the season we do a bit of sevens. So this year we did about 3 or 4 weeks of sevens.
Okay, I have one last question for you, and that
Okay.
is when you are recruiting, what stands out to you as a top recruit?
Oh, I mean, like I said, I'm a people guy, and I love people, and I love character kids that that speak well and have ambition and goals and are driven that want to come to a place that they want to fit into. We've got a phenomenal culture at our team and the program. I mean, the coaching staff. I mean, from Mr. Horne all the way through the coaches into the kids. I mean, we've got a very great family of people, and it's fun to be a part of. And so really looking at kids that want to fit into that type of model where it's team first guys and guys that are there for the team first, and then from there we obviously build into the rugby acumen, but we definitely look at team first guys and how they're able to fit into who we are and how that relationship builds out.
That's super, thank you. And Mr. Horn, I'll turn to you. And I know, Coach Roberts, you need to step away. So thank you for joining us today. Feel free to
You
drop
bet.
off whenever you need to.
Okay.
And
Thanks so much for this.
absolutely, thank you. And Mr. Horn, I know you've been involved in Western Washington rugby since 1972. So that's a long time. What do you think makes it so special and so unique?
Well, I started playing rugby, just a little correction on that. Started playing rugby at Western in 1972 when I came in. And when I graduated, um, we formed a club here called Chuckanut Bay, who has produced a number of internationals and also current starting prop for the London Harlequins, TT Lamastelli. But anyway, so I didn't really stay with Western. I came back to Western in 2012, having been with the national team in Canada, and I taught and coached in Canada high school for 25 years, and then was at UBC, University of British Columbia, Vancouver, before I came back to Western in 2010. It's a special place. The rugby has already been mentioned, a long history on campus going back to 1957. We have an amazing facility. We have not many colleges in the USA have a rugby field that you can change, walk through the gate onto the field, do your warm up, go back in the changing shed. Jerseys are all laid out on the chairs, say your final words, and walk out through the gate onto the pitch. Our stands, we have about 500 seating, 600 seating, electric scoreboard, all the modern amenities. And So we're very proud of that. It's a very first class facility. Um, we do share it with soccer. The other lines on the soccer coach says there are rugby lines on the soccer field. We quickly correct him and say that there are soccer lines on our rugby field. But it's a good working relationship, and again, a fantastic facility. Yeah, the school's a very academic school. Um, and most of the students that we get are good students, so that you can coach up a good academic student to become a good player. They're smart, they're intelligent, they're very coachable, and I think that's been a lot of our success. Adam already met, you asked a question. We look for character, and quite often those characters look for us, apply here, they get in, and they contribute right away to a really positive culture of rugby. Um, yeah, so we're very happy about that, and the support from the school is pretty good, but our support from our alumni association funds us any, up to 50 grand, $50,000 a year or more, subsidizes travel. And so we're very fortunate there. We've got a, very passionate alumni association. Many of them played with me in my era that really give back to the program. And so that's a big part of our success.
Thank you. Could you talk a little bit about how merit scholarships and rugby scholarships work at Western Washington?
Yes, we have specific rugby scholarships. I think we have 40, close to $45,000 a year in rugby scholarships. Um, they are evaluated quarterly. We're not a semester school, evaluated quarterly, and at the end of the year. So those are based on performance. Academics. If their grades drop below a 2.2, that nullifies their scholarship. So there's a lot of responsibility on the student to manage the time being an athlete and a student. And yeah, and then the merit-based scholarships, Western has, I think, is somewhere like $1.6 million a year giving it to incoming freshmen. I think our incoming class this fall is approximately 3,200 students. And so those are given out to students anywhere from a 3.2 to a 4 point, and it will range. Students this year on our program. Uh, can you hear that noise? That's my dog.
No, I can't hear it.
Sorry. Yeah, so we have kids get 4,000 up to $15,000 on their merit base. So they're generous. If you've got the grades, you can get the money.
That's great. Thank you so much.
We also have a very strong relationship with the admissions office. They understand what we're doing. They work with us. We can go back to them and say, is there any chance you can reevaluate this allocation based on grades from an English standard, maybe even from a Canadian standard? And quite often they can do that and come back with a better offer.
That's great. Now, you
Yeah.
mentioned that it is a quarterly system. What does that mean? When does the school year start and finish?
Well, our school starts what they call the fall quarter, third week of September, and that goes up to Christmas, winter break, and then we come back the first week of January, and that goes up until middle of March, where they'll have their spring exams, and then the spring quarter will start 1st of April, and they're in exam going into exam week next week. So most of the students will be finished by the 13th of June. So
And
three
then
quarters.
3 quarters.
Yeah.
And could you paint a little bit of a picture for us about the area where Western Washington is based?
Yes, we are in the most beautiful part of North America. We are an hour south of Vancouver, BC, 20 miles south of the Canadian border, and about 90 minutes north of Seattle. and we are right on Bellingham Bay, um, and it is the Salish Sea. Outside of the bay, there's probably 600 different islands, so it's a boater's paradise, sailing paradise. Um, and 55 minutes from downtown Bellingham, which is a city of 80,000 people, also known as the city of subdued excitement. It's very laid back. We have Mount Baker. Mount Baker is about a 10,500 foot mountain that has the most snowfall of any ski area in North America. And it is a popular place for our students. We have a big outdoor program at the university. And so a lot of students get up there and go skiing and snowboarding. And they even claim they're the founders of the snowboarding at Mount Baker. But yeah, it's a beautiful place, very laid back. The school is close to 16,000 undergraduates, 15,500. Uh, Opened up in 1883, drop dead, beautiful campus overlooking the bay. There's probably another 7 or 8 miles of hiking trails on campus, with a huge arboretum, hillside, 600-acre hillside behind the university, and the dorms are beautiful. Yes, it's very green, and it's a pretty cool place to live.
That's great. One last question for you. From an academic perspective, what is Western Washington known for from
Well,
a field of
it,
study?
yeah, um, it opened its doors back in the days at teachers college, normal school. That is still the teacher education program. Woodring College is still a very strong program offering undergraduate and master's degree. Many administrators from Washington and British Columbia have come here to get their um, graduate certificates. Today, it is a very strong STEM school, science and technology. It has a very nationally acclaimed business school. The kinesiology program in the last 5 years has become a very, very um, popular program, and a lot of students. It's hard to get into, but it's well acclaimed, as well as the engineering program. And the engineering program at Western is kind of unique because they do a lot of plastics and solar engineering, and it's um, yeah. So what else is strong? There's 210 academic programs at Western, and it's a school that prides itself on being taught by faculty. Many of the schools in America, especially the larger ones, will have graduate students teaching classes. Western 99, over 99% of the classes are taught by faculty. And they're also very proud of their student um, faculty ratio, which is like 18 to 1. And so those are all, I think, big factors in people making a decision to where they want to get an education, and Western provides a quality education as well as a
Wonderful.
really good rugby program.
Excellent. Now, along the lines of the rugby program, I have to mention the website that has been built for your rugby program is second to none. So if anyone's looking for additional information, they can find it at www.rugby.org. And there's lots of information about rugby scholarships, about the team, news articles, the coaching staff. So I encourage anyone who's watching this video to leave the video and go to the website and learn a bit more. And Mr. Horne, I'd like to thank you very much for your time today. And I really appreciate your sharing of your experience at Western Washington and your love of the game.
My pleasure. Great to meet you. And any questions, my name is on that website. Anybody can fire off an email, and happy to engage.
Thank you again.
All righty.